we've got a case which may turn into federal litigation in the next 4 hours out of Indiana. And this is, we get a lot of these and we don't talk about them often, but this one was pretty egregious. I mean, that you've got a situation where a track team, the students at Lake Central High School wanted to gather for prayer with the students. In other words, student-led, student-initiated, which is the Mergens case we argued. Voluntary student-led prayer is constitutionally protected. That's what the Supreme Court said in 1990 in Board of Education for Westside Community Schools versus Mergens. It's a case we argued. It was 8-1 decision. Then in a Santa Fe case involving football games and prayer, they're saying the school can't get heavily involved in it, but Justice Stevens wrote that there's nothing in the Constitution that prohibits students from praying before, after, or during the school day. This went even further, though, Cece, because not only were they told not to, but, the coach specifically said, I better not see you together as a group.
Yeah, he literally threatened them and said, don't let me see you do that again. And so not only did he stop them from praying, he told them, he doesn't want to see them doing it again, and they can't even have the appearance of a prayer. Basically, the only thing that they can do is stand in small groups and just stand there for a moment of reflection, which, like you said, is completely violates the Constitution. Yeah. And I think, the Tinker statement that students don't shed their constitutional rights to freedom of speech or expression at the schoolhouse gate, that's the one that, completely applies to this. Sure. These students can absolutely pray before the track meet, during the track meet, anytime that they want to pray, they can do that.
They're not asking for the school to endorse it. And the Supreme Court has said that students are mature enough, especially in high school, to understand that a school isn't endorsing everything it just allows to happen. But the case law on this is crystal clear, Andy, yet this school district, and we've sent a demand letter, if we don't get an answer by this afternoon, we're going to federal court on this.
That's right. There is no question as to what the law is on this. The vigilant protection of constitutional freedoms is nowhere more vital than in the community of American schools. That's not me. That's the Supreme Court of the United States in 1969 in Tinker versus Des Moines Independent School District. You don't leave your constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate or the door. And what this coach did was an intimidation of these young students, telling them, don't let me hear you do that again. I can't believe that in the year 2024, somebody would be making a statement like that under such ignorance of what the law is.
Why would you even make a statement like that, period? Making the statement alone, Logan, that way is outrageous to a student.
Well, I think a lot of times they're uneducated. They don't know exactly what they can do and can't do, but think, oh no, there's kids praying. I feel like I read somewhere in my handbook that I'm not supposed to allow that. So we have to step in.
And then we have to embarrass the students.
Yeah, embarrass the students.
I better not see you doing this again, or what? What are you going to... Let me ask you, Coach. What are you going to do? If the students, let's say their lawyers instruct them this afternoon to go ahead and pray if we don't hear from the school district, what are you going to do, Coach? Have them not run in your track meet? Or wait a minute, you're going to get them suspended from school because they were engaged in a prayer? So, Coach, what exactly are you going to do here? If these students do gather, don't let me catch you gathering. You can disqualify them from their meet? I doubt that.
So I want you to walk through now, and maybe CC, you can. What's the process now, and where are we at legally? Because I think a lot of people are probably listening. There's probably a lot of people watching, listening, going, oh, I've had something like this happen. I didn't even know that this is something I could get engaged in. Obviously, if you go to aclj.org/help, by the way,
right,
we'll get you attached to a lawyer for absolutely free. aclj.org/help if you have a similar situation or something like this. But I guess walk people through the next steps of what the ACLJ does.
Well, and I'll even start there. When people fill out our help form, what is great is it does go directly to a lawyer. So this help form came in on Monday to let you know how quickly we act on when we get contacted. Came in Monday. We had the demand letter out yesterday, and the event is happening today. And if the school does not respond and we do not get the appropriate response back, we will be filing in federal court today. So, that's how quickly we can act on this. And again, people just need to fill out the legal help request form on our website. And this is also when all of our donors come into play and our champions, because we need that support to be able to turn quickly on these cases.
I actually want to bring something up to our digital team, and thanks to our digital team. We have an amazing, robust team. You may think people fill out a form, it goes straight to a lawyer, no big deal. The kind of content we do, the people we're talking to, we're constantly under attack. I will tell you this week, we were under an attack on our website to where those forms being filled out there was one point we were getting about 900 an hour that were coming in from bots and from people trying to shut down our website.
Did we ever find out who that was?
You don't find that out, really.
I never know. Okay.
But you could probably draw your own conclusions on what's happening there. So think about that. They don't want this voice to be heard, whether that's our broadcast, whether that's getting you legal help, because of the topics we're talking about right now. Now, thankfully, because of your support, we have an amazing digital team who is able to shut all that down, which a lot of organizations do not, by the way. They would have no idea what to do. But thankfully, we have some of the best programmers out there to make sure we stayed on top of it, got it set up, shut down within hours, and back in business. That's what's happening. You saw that. Look, you saw that happen on some of the biggest platforms in the country over the last couple of weeks, whether that's your cellular service or your social media platforms. It's happening to organizations like the ACLJ and specifically us. And again, if we weren't able to have that support, you probably don't understand that. You probably don't understand that there are dozens and dozens of people working just on making sure our coding works, making sure that everything is functioning. And when we are under attack, they know what to do to fix it.
Let me give you the facts of this case. So at Lake Central High, that's where this takes place in Indiana, students are on the high school track team. They've been instructed by their track coach now not to gather with other students and pray before the track meet, which, by the way, completely violates their First Amendment rights to freedom of speech and freedom of association. And specifically, in following the incident, other teammates, student-led prayer, the coach said, "Don't let me see you do that again." In other words, don't let me see you do that again, or I guess there's consequences. We've notified the administration about this and are still waiting for a response. They got the letter. The superintendent of schools initially contacted us saying he'll look into it. And then, of course, we've heard crickets. So I'm going to tell the school district, I don't know if anybody in this particular Lake Central school district is listening, but to the superintendent of schools and to the director of athletics, let me make something very clear. You respond promptly, and promptly is way before this track meet at 3:30 today, or we will see you in federal court, and you will lose. You will not win, because you cannot stop students from voluntarily praying before their track meet. And you can't threaten them with, "Don't let me see you do that again." And as I said, Coach, what exactly are you going to do if they do? You're going to fail them? You're going to throw them out of the school? You're going to throw them out of the track meet because they're engaged in a prayer before a track meet by the students? I'm getting incensed about this because I've only been litigating these things, Andy, with you for 40 years. But this is absurd, as you said in the last segment, in 2024.
You would think that somebody would have known better, and this coach would have been taught better by his superiors before he made a ridiculous statement like that. And the fact that we have to pursue these matters in the first quarter of the 21st century, when this law has been settled since the year 1969, if not before, is ridiculous. But we are ready, Coach.